move on to the third technical session. It is being chaired by Dr. V.P. Bindu Gauri, Assistant Professor, NVKSD College of Education. There are 5 presenters: Dr. D.S. Padmaja, Gulshan Ishtaki and Syed Wahaj Mohsin, Jayashakti V.A. and Smrutiksha Mishra, M. Tamil Selvi and Dr. V. Tilay Kalarsi, and the 5th one, Professor T.M. N. Deepak and Professor P. Ratna. I hope the presenters are available and ready. On to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Arya. Good evening, all of you. So we are on to the technical session 3 of this second day of our international seminar on Valdutainment. And in this session, totally there are 5 participants. And all the papers are going to be a combined one. And all the 5 papers are written by 2 authors. And I welcome all the presenters and the audience too. So we shall straight away pass on to the presentation of the first person, that is Dr. D.S. Yeah, as far as the instruction to the candidates are considered, yeah, to minimize the time, we'll stick on to 6 minutes presentation plus 1 minute of question and answer session. So, presenters, please make yourself available. The first presenter is going to be Dr. D.S. Padmaja and Ananya Srinivas. Hello. Dr. Padmaja, are you available? Okay, yes, she's available. Okay, you can make your presentation, ma'am.
Padmaja ma'am, I think you have muted yourself. Kindly unmute.
Okay, shall we move on to the next presenter? Gulshan Ishtiaq. So, are you available? Gulshan Ishtiaq and Syed Wahaj Mohsin. It's again a combined paper. Or shall we move on to the third one? If both of them are not available, they are raising their hands. Okay. Okay. So having some issue?
Ma'am, sorry, I was unable to unmute myself. Now I am able to. Can I do, ma'am? That is Dr. Padmaja.
Yeah, okay. In that case, Padmaja will be presenting.
Sorry very much, ma'am.
It's okay. Please carry on.
Okay, ma'am. I don't think I'll be able to present through PPT. It is ready, but I'm not able to showcase it here. I don't know why. I just try to.
Okay, no issues. You can make it an oral one.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, welcome.
My topic is National Education Policy 2020, Prospectus, Challenges and Solutions, a Way Forward. I'm assistant professor in the Department of Sanskrit in Surana College, which is an autonomous body, Bangalore. If we teach students today, as we taught yesterday, we rob them of tomorrow. These words of John Dewey resonate across time. For epochs, the education we received was different from what exactly was necessary. Tagore, the Rashtrakavi, in his well-known quote, said, "The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence." With this noble intention, NEP is designed by the Government of India and has been approved in the Cabinet. The National Education Policy 2020 has provided excellent opportunities for higher education to improve the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values of the student community. Pillars of National Education Policy. There are four pillars, that is knowledge economy, skill-based education, educational infrastructure, and innovation in education. The objectives of National Education Policy 2020: universal access to quality education, ensure inclusive and equitable education for all, prepare and provide new skilled labor and gainful employment, multidisciplinary abilities and multilingual education, education to be more holistic, to think critically, innovative in absorbing new material in knowledge fields, pedagogy to be more experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry driven, discovery oriented, learner centered, discussion based, flexible, enjoyable, and character building. Ancient and eternal Indian thought, which is a guiding light to develop more ethical values and to make India a Vishwaguru. National Education Policy or critical analysis. No doubt, no doubt, education policy which address the current challenges is the need of the hour. The new education policy 2020 is a ray of hope to bring positive changes in the present education system. The provisions such as interdisciplinary approach, separate institution for research, unifying the governing bodies, changes in curriculum, assessment methods are the pro concepts stated in NEP. However, NEP is criticized by different categories of people on the basis of various issues. Space for virtual learning. The new education policy gives more focus on digital and online learning. However, we have also witnessed the digital divide, the knowledge gap, and the social divide, not only between students but also between sibling educations. Unless the government provides basic infrastructures for everyone, this type of initiative may not work. And three C's. One of the key critics of the NEP 2020 is that it widely intends to bring three C's into India: centralization, marketing, and communication. Centralization is necessary in certain circumstances, and sometimes it is also economical and effective. However, it also leads to authoritarian nature of the administration. Commercial exploitation denies rights to the few who cannot access education.
Hey, Padmaja ma'am, you can try to conclude, make it more brief. Okay, will you be able to conclude it? Hello, Padmaja. Stop. Stop share. Okay, any queries related to this presentation? Okay, I think we have lost connection with her. We'll move on to the second presenter, Gulshan Istiak.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yes. Are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah, you can start your presentation.
Yes, ma'am. My topic is incorporating mentalizing theory into communication, thereby facilitating cognition and kid, traversing the terrain from metacognition to mentalization. From the title itself, I want to clarify. I am Gulshan Ishtiaq from Integral University and I'm making this presentation. So, from the title, that is traversing the terrain from metacognition to mentalization, is we are going to touch the upper grounds of metacognition and mentalization by focusing on the process of communication. As we all know, what is communication? Due to time constraint, I will not take much time. So, communication, we have two of the processes, that is encoding and decoding. The message has been interpreted by one of the party and then it is being transferred to the other party. Here I'm supporting the Osgood Scrums model, who also talks about the same, that a message has been transferred from one party or sent from one party and received from the other party. The factor that is being untouched is, he also talked about some m- external voices or semantic things that is responsible for that will act as a hindrance in transferring the messages. Suppose if I am saying something and the other party uh, is not accepting, as we can see in this session, that ma'am was presenting but somehow due to internet connectivity she is unable to perform her presentation. So this is the major concern, that while communicating, is it the message is transferred well or not? So this is one of the disadvantages that Osgood Scrums model holds, though it talks about certain noises or something while transmitting the messages, but it doesn't gives you any outcomes of it. So for that we need to have a mindful communication. We are involved, if you look into our day-to-day life, we are much involved in mindless communication. Suppose I'm talking and the other person is not understanding what I am trying to say, what I'm trying to present. So this is the mindless communication, and this is time consuming also. If you look into the today's scenario, we are much involved in this mindless communication. If you see that we are much involved in this technological era, we are using TikTok, we are implementing or utilizing our time much more on a screen rather than making it useful. So we need to make it mindful communication instead of mindless communication. In 24/7 we are involved in a mindless communication, and that is why because the development that can take place through communication lags. And one of the most important aspect that communication hold is it allows you, or it fosters the cognitive development. Like for example, what is cognition? Cognition is thinking, what you're thinking inside your brain or inside your mind. So we are actually harming our brain due to this mindless communication, and because of that we need to put an effort for a mindful communication to make it more effective. Why we need to make it more effective? Because it can enhance to solve our problem. If I'm saying something, you are not understanding what I'm saying, then problem will not be solved. Nowadays we are saying, or we are getting feminism, and feminism, more call is over feminism. But what is the solution? Where is the solution? Because the message is not being transmitted effectively, or the party that is at the receiving end is not receiving effectively. If I have mentioned that in that social media age we are so much trapped, and the technology is consuming our brain instead of technology is made to make our work useful, but we are actually the servant of technology. So, if we look into this, we need to get into the root of the problem. From where does it start? If we see, the children are more prone to it. If we look back to the back age, we don't find that children are having phones. Even though nowadays, if we see or look into the adult or older ones, they don't know how to use the phone, but they have that experiences. Why? Because their minds are very much fresh. So we are actually harming our younger generation. So this image is actually justifying, because what our generation is doing is involving in the phone. They're not receiving what the child is needing. He might be hungry, he might need something, but the mother or the parent is not responsible. Same is the case in the school system as well. We just play the screen and children are enjoying. They have unuseful advertisement as well that are affecting the brains of the younger children or kids. My research is basically focusing on the kids, because they are more prone to this adversity of internet or these time. So their brain is in a developing state. If we work from the root level, then only we can have this change and have this effective communication. So instead of involving or indulging them into the screen time, or you yourself, even the elders itself, do not involve yourself too much screen time. Try to communicate with the children's or with the kids, so that you will also be benefited by this process. Here what is happening is, we are trying to encode a message, or we are trying to instill some values into children. We are trying to make a transfer, that is the encoding. And when a child is understanding a message, that is the decoding. So this all comes as the artificial environment, and this is today's uh, i- this is today's demand, that we need to create an artificial environment, because we need to involve our kids into effective learning. And this effective learning comes from communication, because everything, like you want to share an idea, you want to share a thought, you need a language.
Okay, Gulshan ma'am, try to
Yes.
conclude now.
Okay, ma'am. So this all process, if we go through this, so communication moves from metacognition as the child is thinking in their brain. If you allow your child to read with the book instead of phones, so they can have a good understanding. And when they develop an understanding inside their brain, when a child is reflecting the learning, what he has grasped through reading, that is metacognition. Now you're communicating, and when a mind started working, that is metacognition. As soon as the child, this is metacognition and communication, and when this happens, the mentalization takes place. That is two form of mentalization, implicit and explicit. So this is the conclusion part, that implicit education is when a child reads through the parent, or when a parent is helping a child to read, that is the implicit. Now we are not sharing the ideas. As soon as the child started to share their ideas, to know what the character is is going through, then it become explicit, and the communication process completes over there, and the transfer of message from one to another, that is the mentalization. So communication holds importance in order to foster the cognitive development, and it moves from metacognition to mentalization. And in order to create an artificial environment, we must introduce our kid with reading and lessen their screen time. This will not only benefit the children but also the adults to maintain a healthy relationship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
any queries related to this presentation? Do you have any doubts? Okay, can I just ask you, Gulshan, uh, who was the propounder of this mentalizing theory?
Ma'am, I have read the concept and I find it applicable with the communication, so I maintain a comparative research time.
Okay, fine. Fine. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, okay, thank you. Yes, now we move on to the third presenter, Jay Shakti and Smriti Sikta. Okay, are you available?
Yes, ma'am.
Jay Shakti and okay, please carry on. Okay.
Good evening, ma'am. Let me present my paper, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sure, you can.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, visible. Yes, yes.
So my
Visible as well as audible. Yes. Okay.
thank you, ma'am.
Carry on.
I am V. Jayashakti, research scholar of NIT Puducherry. My paper is on language acquisition for second language learners, improves in English classes with game integration, an experimental study in Karaikal region. The abstract of this paper is ESL, English as a second language learning, is inseparable and unavoidable in Indian situation. This requires mental, physical, and emotional effort for comprehension. This study looked into the benefits of using language games in English classroom while teaching for English as a foreign language, mainly in Karaikal government schools. I've taken 40 students between the ages of 13 to 15 belonging to the Karaikal region and started my study. When we compared the approaches in conducting language games with children, various effects, cognitive development, particularly mentality, came into play. Language games and increased mental activity are significantly correlated according to these studies. Students who play language games can develop positive relationship with the language class. Basically, they hate learning an English language because they are afraid of learning a second language, but including games in such classes reduces their aversion to a second language. Teachers should transform from lecturers who rule the classroom to educators who support and encourage students as they learn a foreign language. It is well known language teaching is a challenging task. According to Chomsky's word, it is our natural inherent ability to learn any language. And we are learning a mother tongue. A child is basically learning a mother tongue in a very favorable environment in extensive exposure. But while coming to the learning of second language, most individuals face lots of difficulties and mainly depend on classroom environment for learning a second language. So this learning process involves attitude, motivation, amount of time, teachers, qualified teachers, upbringing, classroom environment, and various other factors. Different strategies and methods have been included.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. Your
Yes, ma'am.
slide is not moving. Okay, your slide is not moving.
Slide is not moving.
It's stuck somewhere.
Is it moving, ma'am?
No. Yeah, now it's started moving. Yes. Yeah. Now it's okay.
Yes, ma'am. Is it now moving, ma'am?
Yeah. Carry on.
Yes, ma'am. Communicative language teaching is the latest trending technique, which is more successful technique in teaching English as a second language. So these are the review of literature. Various researchers have studied this topic including a second language teaching using various activities like games and interactive learning activities. Due to time concern, I'm moving on these slides. I've identified the problem. According to me, according to my researchers, the issue is poor exam performance, lack of desire, and low level of involvement in the class is the basic problem while concerned to the students while learning a second language. So they are rarely placed in situations they are learning English only as a subject, a single subject in classroom, and not involving in family and friends while related to the language skills. English is not taught in schools as a language. Instead, it is treated as a subject, like a science, maths, score-oriented subject, mark-obtaining subject. So games that aid second language acquisitions. Students can participate in language abilities by participating in various activities in ESL classroom. Playway method is not just for primary classes. It can be used for high schools and higher secondary students. They can avoid, as I've already said, they can avoid the fear of learning a second language, and the aversion can be removed by involving games. So various interactive activities like songs, role plays, and other enjoyable activities can be included. Cognitive character development, intellectual, moral, and volitional features can be developed supported by educational games. When working with children, one is convinced that playing helps them understand more program material better and complete strenuous activities efficiently and successfully. By teaching young children while they play, researchers try to turn the fun of games into a fun of learning. So language games include many elements such as simple rules, competition, relaxation, and they can learn at their own pace learning. So created with various levels and topics appropriated to various students' levels, which make everyone involved enjoy themselves and achieve the finest outcomes. Numerous kinds of research have demonstrated the value of instructional games in developing a mind. Significance of the study. The main result of the study have significant implication for English language teachers who should devote more time to games and much more time to exercises. It has a significant implication for curriculum developers, which choose the best strategies for utilizing games by enhancing curricula with game activities. The main objective is to process of teaching English skills, language skills mainly, listening, speaking, reading, and writing to the children using games. To describe how practical teaching English skills by games educate English language teachers the value of employing language games. So study design is quasi-empirical and analytical study. I have used many games and studied through various post-test individuals and samples. I have already said.
Okay, Jay Shakti, can you come to the concluding part? What are your findings? Please conclude your paper, okay? Are you there? Okay, I think she has left and she's having some net issues, I think. So we shall move on to the next presenter, M. Tamil Selvi, who is a research.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is it audible?
Yes, you're audible, yes.
Yes,
You
good
can
evening,
make it.
ma'am. I'm
Yes,
Tamil
good evening.
Shelvi. I'm PhD scholar, Thiruvalluvar Government Arts College, Rasipuram. My end title is the interface between gender studies and human values in the novels of Kamala Markandeya in A Handful of Rice. Kamala Markandeya, the problems of Kamala Markandeya described about the problems of growing population is directly discussed in the novel. Outside the house, the Kamala Markandeya meets here men and both are engaged in conversation. The main character is Ravi, also has many brothers and sisters, and the next character Apu has a large family, and at the same time Ravi gives birth of 4 children. Generation gap is posing a problem to the society. The generation gap is the best reason for the making problem to the society. There is a less love, harmony, and understanding between the old and younger generation. The younger generation is revolutionary and disobedient. In this novel, a handful of rice, Ravi represents a younger generation, and Apu, his father-in-law, the old one. Kamala Markandeya bring out the adverse effect of poverty on human relationship. The character Ravi's cruel behavior towards his wife and towards his wife Nalini, and society's attitude towards Ravi's are example of strained human relationship under the impact of poverty and hunger. And the main burning problem of our country is rapidly growing population, and consequently the problem of accommodation is also taking place. Kamala Markandeya blames hunger and poverty for weakening the bonding of human values. So long as Apu was alive, everything was well with Ravi, but after his death, Ravi could not adjust with his surroundings. He is very struggled to live in their society after Apu's death. All the 10 novels of Kamala Markandeya throw light on different aspects of human relations and bring out the factors which are responsible for the change of behavior of man towards man. She does not waver in her vision of a better world where men and women can live and work together harmoniously, developing a higher level of consciousness by means of a closer sharing meaningful concept meaningful to the human conditions. At us, the lost literature provides the reason resonance that lingers in the mind line after the lost headlines has spilled from the memory, while it lingers neither black nor white. There is only a human brotherhood.
Any network issue with you? Okay, in that case, we'll move on to the last presenter, Professor TMN Deepak. Are you available?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Professor Ratna.
Okay. So you're the co-author. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you
Yes.
can press it. You can press it. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, welcome. Okay, you can make a brief presentation within 5 minutes. Okay. Due to
Sure,
time
ma'am.
constraint. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, can you see the presentation, ma'am?
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah,
Visible.
my slides are moving, ma'am. Can you see the next slides?
Yes.
Thank you,
Working.
ma'am.
It's working.
Yeah. So my topic is on shades of accessibility for persons with disabilities in education institutions and in public places. Both places, whether it is accessible for persons with disabilities or not. So myself and author is TMN Deepak. He is a professor from Social Work Department. I am from Service Learning Department from Loyola College. And motto of UN Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. It is nothing about us without us. So present scenario of persons with disabilities in India is like 21 types of disabilities are in RPWD Act in 2016. So for so it has mentioned WHO estimates that 600 million persons with disabilities are with different types and with different degrees. And 650 million people, roughly around 10% of the world population, live with disability according to the UN. In India alone, roughly 100 million people with disabilities, which is almost 1/6 population of disabled people in the world. Day-to-day life, it is about 25% of the world population are struggling in the disability. It is to cross the daily basis, daily routine. And almost 240 million people are children with disabilities. It is about UNICEF report says that. And these are the articles, chapters, which is mentioned in UNCRPD and Persons with Disabilities Act. And I would request, please listen to me in this two article. Article number 2 of UNCRPD, it says about communication, and there should not no discrimination on the basis of a disability, and reasonable accommodation should be made in all the places, and universal designs should be made in accessing all the places. And article number 9 says about accessibility on building, road, transportation, and inside and outside facilities, schools, housing, medical facilities, and in workplaces. And difficulties, I need not say anything. By seeing the disabled people, we can specify that their decent work and social protection services, legal support, and these are all highly they are requesting us for accessibility. And we all know that Sukhamya Bharat Abhiyan recently has launched in 2015, and that says about accessibility audit. We have to do the audit in all the places, whether it is a building or it is in the road, national level, and it should be in the all over the places. And methodology which I have taken it is exploratory study and qualitative research method, and only 2 samples, in the sense 2 sites I have taken it. And primary thing is I have it is not only me, a team of people have intervened in the places, and no restrictions to one type of a disability. We have taken a lot. I'll tell you the next slide. So these are the 2 places which I have taken it. DRA, it is Disability Rights Alliances have taken initiative in Salamaris College, Chennai, and December 3 movement, D3M, this organization which have taken initiative in accessing the place, Central Railway Station. It is a public place. And these are the people have involved. Ms. Saranya, Ms. Uma, they are all low vision people, amputant leg, a hand, and locomotor disabled people, wheelchair users, Hansen diseases. Hansen disease is nothing but a leprosy. People no more calling leprosy, it is called Hansen disease. And stunted growth person, little people, we call that stunted growth, and visually challenged, and Down syndrome, locomotor disabled people, and CPMR, that is cerebral palsy, and deaf and mute. These are the people who were involved in both the audits. And these are the pictures which I have taken. And these are the places in education institution, what are all supposed to be done. Pathway corridor, ramp should be done, doors to be taken place, and it should be accessible for the visually challenged too. And the reception should be this stunted growth people, it should be accessible for them. Each and everything we have taken a note. And in this case, the Central Railway Station, we have taken an initiative. We have approached a person, he's a commissionerate, Mr. Sendil sir. We spoke to them, and in Central Railway Station, we have gone to all the places which have mentioned here, bus stop, platform, right from the beginning till getting into the train. All the places we have taken into consideration, and we have made an access. And these are the pictures wanted to show you. Whether this is a person, he is a person with disabled, visually challenged, and he wanted to fetch the water, and he has a difficulty in fetching water. And the person who is a wheelchair user, Tamil Selvi, she has difficulty in walking in the place, though she has crutches. Since it was having a marble tile, and he is a person with disabled, the pink shirt. He's he's a person with deaf, and he's not able to enter anything in the inquiry place. He saw the next person, interpreter, is there, sign language interpreter. He's saying that this is a kind of an access, we are doing it here. And he's Mr. Varadan. He's tried to approach the platform ticket to get it, and it is very difficult to get it from using a wheelchair. So he's a Pandian. He's a stunted growth person. So these women are representing the mentally challenged children, and they give some suggestions on how to reach the Central Railway Station. And these are the suggestions. Yes, ma'am.
Just convey your findings. Can you convey your findings and
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So these are the suggestions we have given to the people responsible. And the more important thing is Mr. Ganesh. He is a person we have approached, and we have specified these suggestions to be made in disabled friendly in the Central Railway Station, and as well in the education institutions. And he had taken the suggestions. Number of volunteers from Loyola College can be involved in supporting the disabled people while entering in the railway station. And the next thing is creating kind of application apps, mobile apps kind of a thing. It can also help them to get inside the kind of a Vola cab, kind of volunteers we have to involve in the app. And last thing is special rooms for disabled people used as a waiting room. So these three things were approved, and they started working on this. So my conclusion is, it is good to know that private institutions and education institutions, government organizations are ready to make disabled friendly environment by understanding the pain and struggle of a persons with disabilities. In forthcoming days, the environment will be disabled friendly to access with dignity. Access audit pave way to make disabled people disabled friendly environment at Central Railway Station as well in the education institution. It is not only that, it is everywhere. So my concern on these two codes is make the right real. It is insurance strategy to the government side, and this particular blue color code, it is for everyone. The only disability in life is bad attitude. Ma'am, I'm concluding, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ratna. So, is there any question? Or can I ask you a question? What were the challenges faced by you during your studies? Did you find out any challenge during your study?
Challenges in the study is nothing but while approaching the education institution, they regret to enter inside the place, ma'am. Before that, we have asked the permission, but at the beginning they were okay. But later stage, please don't share this information because we have not made it disabled friendly thing and all. So then later and all, they started okay. After doing this access audit, they started working on this all should be a disabled friendly thing, at least in a simpler way, simpler ideas, kind of a thing, small ramps and things like that. It was initially they were hesitated to understand us at the beginning, and then later stage they started understanding it. But in the private sector it is okay, but in the public sector kind of a thing, it is very difficult to make them to understand the access audit itself. Access audit, it is very it is a kind of revealing their fault. So it is very difficult to make them understand that it is not that revealing your fault, it is making we people to access your institution. So it is a very simple information to make them to understand that it is we wanted to get inside the education. We wanted to go and we have to travel away, kind of a thing. So at the beginning it was challenging and later it was fine.
Okay, good answer.
Thank
So
you.
now, okay, to wrap up, so now we have come to the concluding session of this technical session, all the technical sessions, and all the papers were equally appreciable, and was a fruitful discussion, and I wish you all success. Thank you. But for the technical issue, everything went on fine during this presentation. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you all. So we have now reached towards the end of the conference. We have covered all the three technical sessions. I hope it was a fruitful event for all the participants and the presenters. We can now move on to the valedictory session. I invite Dr. S. Devika, Assistant Professor, NVKSD College of Education, to present the report for these 2 days conference.
Good evening. Let me present a brief report of the International Conference on Valdutainment, the need of the present academic scenario, conducted in a hybrid mode on 15 to 16 November 2022 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. by NVKSD College of Education in collaboration with Universitas Al Azhar Mandar, Indonesia, Universitas Muhammadiyah Sidanrak Rapang, Indonesia, Cape Comorin Trust, and Cape Comorin Publishers, India. The conference started with the invocation of God and was initiated by lighting the auspicious lamp by the dignitaries. The international conference was presided over by Advocate S. Krishna Kumar, Secretary, NVKSD College of Education. The principal of NVKSD College of Education, Dr. S. Srilata, welcomed the August gathering. Dr. R. Mukundan, the academic advisor, NVKSD College of Education, made a formal inauguration of the international conference. In his inaugural address, he highlighted the value of value education that has to be imbibed in children in variety of other ways, especially through entertainment. Dr. Kandaya Sri Ganeshan, Senior Lecturer, Department of English Language, University of Jaffna, Sri Lanka, delivered a keynote address. He emphasized the importance of values in producing quality research. Dr. D.S. Prashop Madhavan, Assistant Professor of English and the Accuracy Coordinator of NVKSD College of Education, gave vote of thanks. The plenary session of the conference started at 11 a.m. Dr. V. Umayuru Bhagan, former principal Nurul Islam College of Arts and Science, was the resource person. He reiterated the significance of values in modifying the behavior structuring of the students. Plenary session 2 started at 12 p.m. Dr. B. Xavier Das, Associate Professor, PG Department of English and Center for Research, St. Jude's College, Tutur, was the resource person. He necessitated the implementation of joyful learning for fruitful learning to make learning process more effective and everlasting. The day one concluded with on-campus paper presentation session. The day 2 started via online at 10:45 a.m. The day began with felicitation address by Dr. Chuduriya Sohabuddin, Universitas Al Azhar Mandar, Sulawesi, Bharat, Indonesia. In his inspirational felicitation address, he spoke on the significance of value-attainment in education. He analyzed the role of value-based education for students for future prospects. Professor Sharmishta Das was the resource person for the plenary session 4. She is the Assistant Professor, Postgraduate Department of English, Hooghly Mohsin College, West Bengal. She presented her thoughts and opinions on the role of advertisements in gender construction. Plenary session 5 started by 1 p.m. Dr. Asra Tajhizi, English language teacher, Margaya University, Iran, was the resource person. She brought out the concept of code switching, and according to her, he is more impressionistic in the current global scenario. Professor Dr. Nada Ratkovic, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Economics, Business and Tourism, Split University, Croatia, was the resource person for plenary session 6. She elaborated the necessity of incorporating ICT in the teaching learning scenario for attainment of educational outputs. Next was the session by Dr. Andy Asrifan of Universitas Muhammadiyah Sidrang Rapang, Indonesia. He was in his session, he stressed on the effectiveness of differentiated instruction and its impact on students' learning. It was followed by Dr. Muthumaina, Universitas Al Azaira Mandar Sulawesi, Indonesia, and she opined on accelerating digital transformation of education sector and usefulness of artificial intelligence in the learning context. And Professor Rajesh Kumar Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Education, International Center for Distance Education, Distance and Open Learning, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla, Himachal Pradesh, and Chairman, Center for Buddhist Studies, HP University, Shimla, Himachal Pradesh. And he stressed on the need of value education for prospects of the students' learning. The two-day international conference has seen paper presentation of 50 paper presenters. The paper presenters presented the view on multifaceted disciplines and multifaceted innovative concepts. The sessions were chaired by Dr. B. Xavier Das, Associate Professor, PG Department of English and Center for Research, St. Jude's College, Thuthur, and Dr. R. Mukundan, Academic Advisor, NVKSD College of Education, with the eminent support of faculty members of NVKSD College of Education. A galaxy of valuable participants and prolific resource person from over the global society participated in the webinar with the international representatives from Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Croatia, Iran, and other national dignitaries. The webinar was supported by the visionary management, dedicated faculty, administrative staff of NVKSD College of Education. Our special thanks are indebted to Ms. Neha and Ms. Arya. To conclude, by the grace of our college, DT Nallur Vettuvani Kandanshasa, the conference turned fruitful. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. We have reached to the final session of the conference. I humbly invite Dr. D.S. Prashov Madhavan, sir, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening to all. By the grace of Lord Almighty, we have successfully reached the close of the two-day international conference on Valdutainment, the need of present academic scenario. I am honored to present a vote of thanks to each and everyone who has contributed a genuine share for this mega event. I, on behalf of the organizing committee, convey deep regards and hearty thanks to the Secretary of NVKS Education Society for granting us permission and providing guidance for the success of this program. Thank you, sir. I'm thankful to our principal, Dr. Srilata, who has granted administrative approval and supported in all possible manner to organize this conference, a great event. Thank you, madam. My sincere thanks to Dr. Regin Silvis, the president of Cape Comorin Trust, for his lion's share in the successful completion of the conference, and I also am thankful to the associating universities for their contribution. Thank you all. I take this opportunity to extend our most sincere thanks to all our guest invitees who have come over here from different destinations, online and offline, to grace this conference. Thank you all. I must thank my colleagues, the organizing committee members of this event, for their support and time by time encouragement at every point of time in the organization of this great event. And I experienced a sustained working relationship that I honestly count. Thank you all. I thank all the delegates from various institutions who have presented papers and participated and made this event a great success. Thank you all. I sincerely thank the B.Ed, M.Ed, and PhD research scholars of NVKSD College of Education for their enthusiasm and constant support for the success of this event. Thank you. Finally, I thank one and all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We have now reached to the end of the 2 days conference. Wishing you all better good luck for your future endeavors. Thank you.